Okay, it's going. Hi, my name is Dasha Berezhnova, and my presentation is called Is Unofficial Diplomacy Real Diplomacy? My program is a master's in political science, and my supervisor is Dr. Jérémy Cornu. During the Cold War, diplomacy between the US and the Soviet Union was a bit tense, to put it lightly. Diplomats came to meetings ready to butt heads and to push their agenda. However, at the same time, a different kind of meeting was also taking place. In Pugwash, Nova Scotia, a group of scientists from both countries came together to discuss nuclear security. They weren't diplomats hired by governments. They were just experts in the field, and they came to talk about nuclear science and some related policy. These scientists were doing what is known as unofficial diplomacy with tangible results. Their work greatly influenced policy, and they even helped get multiple nuclear weapons treaties signed between the two countries. This story, and others like it, have led me to wonder, is unofficial diplomacy real diplomacy? On the surface, the answer seems to be no. Diplomacy is commonly defined as diplomats doing their jobs on behalf of their countries. But unofficial diplomacy does have diplomatic results. So what exactly is diplomatic about this unofficial diplomacy? To answer this question, I'm looking at what unofficial diplomats do and how they think about it. With the help of a new approach called practice theory, which helps us make sense of the activities that people do and their social meaning, I'm going to conduct 20 interviews with scholars and experts from across the world who participate in unofficial diplomacy. I'm going to ask them about their daily activities so that I can see what is conventional and what is unusual in what they do from a diplomatic perspective. These activities can be as simple as preparing for a meeting. For example, how do they decide what to talk about? Official diplomats are told what to talk about by their government. But when a group of scholars comes together to do unofficial diplomacy, nobody tells them what to discuss, so how do they decide? And is there a set process for deciding, or does it change every time? And do they strategize about this stuff, or do they just go with the flow? These are exactly the kinds of questions that I'll be asking during my interviews, and practice theory will help me reconstruct what these mundane details mean for understanding how unofficial diplomacy works in practice. By looking at what unofficial diplomats do and what they think, I'll not only be able to better understand the relationship between official and unofficial diplomacy, I'll even be able to parse out the key features of diplomacy itself. After all, just because something is unofficial does not mean that it's unimportant.